Okay, Carol. So, what have you achieved or what are you most proud of since you started your journey?
Hi, Edward. Well, the thing that I'm most proud of is how much weight I've lost. And in addition to that, how I've changed my size dramatically. I went from a size 22 down to a 10, and that has just made me feel really great. I'm able to do a lot more things. I love photography. I can now climb hills and take amazing photos.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've completely got my life back, and I feel like I'm Carol now
Mhm.
and not the person I was before the weight loss.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's phenomenal, actually. I mean, life must be a different creature for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unbelievable. And I think we sometimes lose sight of that, when we're piling on the weight and we're thinking about eating, like comfort eating was my thing. And um, as soon as you're stressed, you're just reaching for the fridge or reaching
Yeah.
for something that you shouldn't be eating. And you get used to feeling bad. You get used to feeling sluggish. And, meanwhile, life is passing you by. And there's just so much more that I can do. My life is just so much fuller, if that's the right word.
Yeah,
That's the right.
absolutely. Yeah, it is.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I love life so much more being able to do all those things.
Yeah. So this makes it sound like a silly question then, but maybe you've already answered it. What caused you to start your journey?
Well, I had to have a tooth out and I was sent to the hospital because I wanted sedation. When I got there, they said basically, you're too fat, your BMI is too high, you're too obese. We cannot safely give you sedation because there was no A&E department at this hospital. And they said basically, you can't be resuscitated. And you can imagine being told that. They absolutely shocked me. It was a real like eye opener. I'm too fat to be sedated. This was a booked appointment. Imagine if it was an emergency that I needed sedation or whatever, and they're telling me that I'm too fat to have it. So they basically said to me, you've got to lose a stone and a half before we'll even consider doing this. So that's all I set out to do, really, was to initially lose a stone and a half. But once I was in the rhythm of doing it, it just continued. So,
Brilliant. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that's life changing, literally life changing.
yeah.
Um, so if anyone sees this, and hasn't and are at home and they're unhappy with their weight or uncomfortable in their own skin or their clothes don't fit them properly or they can't play with the kids as they would like to, what advice would you give to someone who hasn't started their journey yet?
I think my advice would be get help, because I think if you are doing something, it's so easy to backtrack. That it's you start off and you think, right, I'm going to go for this, and then something crops up and you find you reaching out for old habitual behaviors, like reaching out for all the foods that don't actually do you any good whatsoever.
Mm.
And so to me, it's like get in touch with you, Edward. You have been an amazing, amazing help for me, and you've stopped me falling off, falling into bad ways so many times. It's untrue. But what I'd also say is like really get a picture of how your life can be. Because as I said earlier, my life has changed beyond belief, really. And I used to be ashamed of how I looked.
Mm.
I used to hide my body under baggy clothes and things like that. And now I love buying clothes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what I would say to people is really think about how much better your life can be, and just keep picturing yourself as that, and look at yourself now and imagine yourself being there, and just look in the mirror and say, I'm fabulous, I'm gorgeous. Fill your life with like love for yourself, because when you do that and you look at yourself and you notice everything that's good about you, you'll be motivated to keep
Yeah.
going, do more.
Yeah. Yes, certainly. I think that absolutely. And I think that people, I've often experienced speaking to people who are really proud of themselves, not necessarily for the destination, but for picking up the load and going with it. So being up
Yeah,
for the challenge
yeah,
is a foundation of self-worth. That I
yeah,
may not look how I want to yet, I may not be where I want to yet, but I'm doing something about it.
yeah,
That's where people come to like themselves. It's not necessarily when they're at their dream weight. They're often
yeah.
pleased that they're at their dream weight, but actually it's that they're doing something to make life better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just there is no one more important in our lives than us,
Mhm.
you know, and I know that we spend so much time focusing on making everybody else's life better. And I think sometimes getting overweight is because we don't pay enough attention to ourselves. We're too busy
Agreed.
focusing on the needs of everybody else.
Mhm.
But yeah, give yourself a bit of love because you deserve it. And if we want to live our best lives and we want to live as long as possible, then what we put down our throats is absolutely key to that. So, you know, and there's, you know, there's no point putting it off. We need to do it now. So that's what,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure if you would say you've had struggles on this journey. Maybe we all have struggles in life, and there's no separation between struggles in life and struggles on the weight loss journey. But for those who are on their journey and maybe are struggling, how would you, if you could give them some advice to get back on track, what advice might you give to someone who's struggling on their journey?
Well, Edward, I've had loads of challenges, you know, like when the pressure comes along, it's really, really easy to just get on that downward spiral and, you know, start reaching back for those bad habits. So, you know, it's not been plain sailing for me at all. And what I would say is, first of all, recognize that you're not alone. This is very, very normal. So don't beat yourself up about it. And don't think that a moment of naughtiness means that you failed. You haven't. Just expect it. And also recognize that you're in that position. So recognize the fact I'm on the downward spiral. Let's take action. Reach out to you, reach out to you, Edward, because, you know, part of me belonging to your membership is the fact that you're always offering book a chat in. You know, if you've got the pressure and things are tough, book a chat. And I know you've helped me so many times when I've been in that position. I think be kind to yourself and just again step into those shoes of who you want to be. Remind yourself why you're on this journey, and then have a little look in all that little storage section on the Google Drive and find something really delicious, try something different food. And yeah, I think just don't suffer on your
Don't
own, really.
suffer. Yeah, don't suffer
Yeah,
alone. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Um, what would you say is your biggest piece of learning about starting this journey with us that you've had?
I think the biggest bit of learning has got to be what food you can eat.
Yeah.
You know, I was absolutely mind blown. First of all, to learn about the macros and, you know, completely different to every bit of advice that I'd read about or heard about before then. And just the whole range of food that you can eat.
Yeah.
You know, like seriously, you know, it's just like there is no need to just live on lettuce leaves and
Yeah, you might
you know,
enjoy a side salad, but that's not your evening meal. Like, have
yeah,
it with, not instead. Yeah, you can eat, there's loads of foods that you can eat.
yeah, and that is, I think, one of the biggest learnings for me is, yeah, just what is possible to eat and still lose weight. And also for me, I think, is how much you can eat. You know, we all kind of go into starvation mode when we think about dieting, but actually, you know, I'm still losing weight, but I feel full all the time,
Yeah,
and I'm not skimping on meals. So yeah, so that's definitely been the biggest learning.
yeah. I think a lot of people who I work with have come from maybe a lifetime of diets, and there have been maybe some misconceptions over the years about fat, for example, eating
Yeah.
fat. And so when I work with a lot of people and say, what, so you can have bacon and cauliflower cheese, that's not a diet, or burgers and, a mixed grill platter, these
Yeah.
things, a lot of foods, creamy things, cheesy things that seem like luxuries, and to a lot of people seem like naughty food because
Yeah.
we've learned about food in a different way. They feel like they're eating luxury food now. How can they
Yeah.
eat the foods that they're not allowed to eat and lose weight at the same time? And I think that some people, that takes some adjusting for them.
I think the whole thing about low fat foods has been drilled into us for so long that it is a real shock, as you just said, and that was, I remember just saying to my husband, stop buying low fat foods, like it is full of rubbish. So again, I think, yeah, understanding that if we want to burn fat, we've got to eat fat, and that's got to be the biggest part of our diets, was a real shocker to me.
Yeah,
And it is so much more tasty
yeah, and
when you're
filling,
not
I think,
scared of eating it.
absolutely. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, well, I'm delighted for you. I think you've done marvelously. Um, Busy woman in life in general, and so
yeah,
your journey is probably, well, certainly unique to you, but it's a unique one in that everyone's living their different lives and their different paces and things. And I think you've done marvelously integrating this and making some big changes.
yeah.
Um, did you say you walked to the gym and back today? Is that right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah. So when I first started the weight loss journey, I waited to join the gym so I could burn off, significant fat, but then I knew that I had to tone. So yeah, so I love going to the gym now. I just love it, but I'm lucky that I can walk. So if I walk the scenic way, and I make sure basically that I do about 7,500 steps there and back, even if it means sometimes I have to do double circuit or something. I do
Brilliant.
that just to make sure that I'm doing my steps and I'm going to the gym. And as I said, I really love it. And one of the things that I just wanted to add, actually, Edward, which has just come to me, is to say to people, trust the process. This works, and you get results fast, and then sometimes you might slow down a bit. That's just natural and normal. But I do think that what you tell people, how you help people in the way to lose weight is right. And I just think that you just have to trust that.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've helped a lot of people as a community. We've helped a lot of people the last kind of 18 months, and let's hope that in the future we can help a lot more people. And I think that people like yourself who've walked the walk are just the right sort of people to tell the world that it can be done. Don't give up. Reach out and ask for help. Be kind to yourself. All of these
Yeah.
things are, and maybe these are lessons for life. And maybe we're starting off looking at life and weight loss as that these things are relevant for getting weight off and being healthier. But actually, they're lessons that can then permeate the rest of life as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's just about knowing what you want out of life. And look, we've only got one life. Life can end at any moment. I'm sure we all know people who we have lost very, very suddenly, or their quality of life, or, they've been affected by illness or accidents, whatever. Life, we only have this moment, nothing else is guaranteed. And so to me, it's like, well, how do you want to live your life? What do you want to get out of life? Live it fully. That we are blessed with such an amazing universe, where we can do almost anything we want. And when you feel better, you are much more likely to participate in so many more things, which just adds such great stuff to our lives. It's
Adds
like,
life to our life.
adds life to our life, you know, that it's what's the saying, something about it's not the years in our life, what's the saying about being old? It's something like it's not the years, it's the life in our whatever. I can't remember what it is, but
Yeah, but it is. I mean, yeah, and it's sad to think how many people are missing life
yeah,
by not living, by
yeah,
maybe feeling intimidated or scared or embarrassed to ask for help, or
yeah,
snowed under by the pressures and the busyness of life. When
yeah,
life can feel better, and sometimes it's just making
yeah.
different choices, and sometimes that takes learning a little bit and having a little bit of guidance and support to do that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I just think that when you know what you can eat, you know, it it's quite amazing and it's tasty. You know, I just had chicken korma, you know,
Yeah,
and it was super delicious, you know, and you know, I feel completely satisfied. You know, I don't feel that any aspect of losing weight is restrictive.
no,
You know, I just don't. It's just not. It is absolutely tasty. And, you know, I enjoy my food now. And, you know, I'm just so glad that I lost the weight, you know, that I do feel so much better. You know, I look so much better. I know it's going to help me live longer, you know. So,
oh yeah, yeah. And a friend of mine always joked that the more, the more. So the more it works positively and negatively. So if you are hiding from the world, then you get more depressed, and therefore you hide more. Therefore, you get feeling worse, and therefore your weight is worse and your health. And likewise, the opposite is true. Thankfully, the positive, that the more you take action to make life better, maybe the more that you make some good food choices or learn about food, a bit of weight comes off. Then you're more able to go playing with the kids. Then you're more sociable, and the more, the more. So if we can start a momentum of
yeah.
positive things in our life by making that little step at the beginning, it can just grow and grow and grow and get better and better and better.
Yeah. No, I think that is really true. That momentum, you know, it might seem hard at first, but yeah, get much easier. And I think it's really important, this support business, you know, that I know I've talked about so much, but you know, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to change habits, doesn't it? And so during that time, having support, not just from you directly, Edward, but from the group. I mean, belonging to the group is just amazing. You know, the support and the sharing of recipes, the laugh, you know, and all of those things just help it seem like you are on a really positive journey and you're not alone.
Yeah. And we're not alone. And if we feel alone, we should reach out. Definitely.
Yeah.
All of us.
It's really difficult to do that, I think, though, when you are on that downward spiral, you know, and you know that you've got habits, you know that you're not living the most fulfilling, happy life. And to me, that's what success in life is all about, being happy and feeling satisfied and fulfilled. And so I think, you know, being able to take that first step and know that you're supported and you are worthy, you know, let's accept that we are all worthy of living our best life and that all it takes, don't think about um, needing to lose however many stone. Just think about taking the first step, because when I started my weight loss, as I said, you know, they said to me, you've got to lose 1.5 stone. And that was all my target was, 1.5 stone. You know, I went from 16.5 stone to 9.5 stone. But all I did was just take one step every day. I never for 1 minute thought when I started my journey, I was going to lose that much weight.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would say just focus on what you've got to do today.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure, Edward.
Brilliant. Absolutely great.